Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in the Duncan. And I got a doozy of a video for you guys today. This one is going to be an interesting one. So I want you guys to pay attention. I'm going to be calling out some things that you guys need to check to help you or help keep you from making similar mistakes in the future. Now, that being said, if you guys enjoy my World of Warships Legends content, or any of the other content that I put out on this channel, which is a lot of content, then I highly recommend you press that like button. It helps the channel out a lot, lets YouTube know that this is a great place to come hang out. Also, at least 46% of you guys aren't subscribed. So, if you enjoy what I do, and you come back every single day for the awesome content that I put out, whether it be live streams or World of Warships Legends stuff, hit that subscribe button. You can unsub at any time if you just dislike what I'm doing. Now, that being said, we're in the Duncan. We're on a map that's not the best for the Duncan. Why is this map not the best for the Duncan? Because it has very limited avenues of approach, especially from this spawn location. So we got to be careful. But I want you guys to pay attention on the mini-map to where the enemy is positioned and what they end up doing, because this is going to be key for what happens during this match. Also, keep an eye out for this Cleveland at the beginning of the match. We got a beautiful, beautiful look at a Cleveland, and the game is going to tell me I can't take the shot, but as you guys know, I always say, you miss all the shots you don't take. Sometimes the game will lie to you. It'll say you can't lob the island, and those times you'll get a feel for it. The more you do it, you'll get a feel for when the game's lying to you. And you'll be like, I think I can make that shot. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But in this instance, we have a look and it says, oh, you can't make that shot. I disagree. And so I immediately take the shot, and some of them do hit the island, but the ones that do make it through still put up 11,800 damage. Plus, that man just lost all of his hit points real quick. Turns out, if you just YOLO straight in and turn full broadside in a cruiser at the beginning of the match, you die very quickly. Who could have seen that coming? I would have never guessed. But they're already down one ship. Now this is a carrier match, so we got to keep that in mind. We do have a couple of defensive AAs, which are going to come in handy because we are going to get kind of a carrier getting our attention. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's not just the carrier's attention we're going to get, all the way also slapping that Missouri for 10,000 damage as well. But yeah, it's not just the carrier, it's the entire enemy team. Look at the mini-map. Look at them. This is unacceptable gameplay. Unless, of course, you're on my team, in which case, I watched it, and you guys get to sit there and have all the fun with all the crossfires while the enemy all goes to one location. I will give a shout out to the battleship that's all by his lonesome on that left flank, but yeah, not going to end in his favor. He's vastly outnumbered. Now, remember the other day we showed where you could get up into that decap and get those crossfires on all these guys? We showed it with when we matched up against Big B. That is what I would love to see our battleship at Delta doing. Moving forward into that little gap and being able to shoot at the broadsides of these guys. It isn't what he does initially, but the two cruisers that are next to me, keep an eye on them. One of them, I believe, is a D7P, the Provincian, the new campaign ship. And the other one, or is it a campaign ship? I don't remember. The D7 Provincian, you guys know. But Missouri comes around the flank. We're already ready for him. Knowing that he overmatches, I'm going to go ahead and drop a torpedo just in case he decides to bow tank. And you can see those funky little turning torpedoes. But we're going to try to use the island to shield our nose. And it also allows us to get the other torpedo off potentially. But this Missouri goes full broadside to me here, or at least starts to, and then he realizes probably not a good idea. So he doesn't shoot us, thankfully. So we're gonna go ahead and slap the superstructure of this man just to make sure he knows who he's like sleeping on out here. All right, just because there are cruisers around doesn't mean you have to shoot those cruisers. Now I will say this: we've lost a cruiser already because of reasons. Right? He was broadside. He went into the cap just like the freaking whatchamacallit did, just like the Cleveland did at the beginning. Goes into the cap, gets caught by everybody on the enemy team. There's no place for him to go, and so he gets absolutely yeeted. However, our other cruiser is doing a much better job of staying in a position where he can limit who can shoot him. This is something we talk about all the time. You look at him right there at Delta Cap. He's sitting right there in the gap. He's able to reverse and get shots when he needs to. And he's able to get a lot of potential damage. And avoid a lot of potential damage is what I meant. But as you can see, their entire team is throwing themselves at the Charlie Cap right now. Not just this Missouri, but their entire team. They have a Ray Publique out here. They have a cruiser out here. They've got several people going into the Charlie Cap from the center of the map. And again, if that battleship had put himself in a good position there to, oh my god, torpedoes. Thank god they're German. Lord have mercy. No, that was the carrier. I was like, never mind. Anyway, we have used our defensive AA, but we don't have our next defensive AA just yet. We've already shot down 19 planes. Make that 20. 20 planes shot down already. And then he gets a perfect set of torps right up the prop shaft, man. Fortunately, they don't arm in time. I ain't gonna lie, I was about to throw something if those had armed and actually done damage to me. Because they would have likely knocked out my, at minimum, they would have knocked out my engine, right? Or steering. And so that would not have been preferable. But you can see, I'm starting to reverse. I am sonared right here. So I'm trying to reverse to get myself in a position to help my teammates with the push. You can see my cruiser has done a very good job of being able to maintain that gap and take very little damage. Now, we go ahead and we drop a torpedo here just to make sure that if anybody comes around that corner, we've already got it ready for them. And then we want to back up to a point where we can potentially shoot the Neptune. Now, keep in mind, we do not have a lot of armor from this angle, right? So if we go broadside to a couple of battleships right now, we're probably going to get sent back to port, right? The Duncan is very, very nasty, but it is a battle cruiser. It has very little armor, and the armor that it does have is on the belt, so you got to learn to angle it. Bow and stern is very squishy, and if you get caught broadside, it's GG's. But unfortunately, just as we get ready to go after the Shimanto here, the destroyer shows up. We end up taking a torpedo. Fortunately, no flood or anything like that. We got another set of torpedoes on their way. These are the destroyer torps, so these are much more likely to do more damage. And you can see they do, in fact, do more damage. Now remember, these are nuclear torpedoes. And Musashi comes around the corner. We absolutely clap his cheek. And, of course, the torpedo finds its mark. Like, come on, Musashi. What did you think was going to happen there? Right? Like, come on. You got to be better than that. Now, we know that the destroyer's out here, so we're already loading HE in preparation to fight the destroyer. We also have our engine boost going. And we have to try to use the island to scrape off more torps. We know it's a German torpedo boat, so we know it's got fast reloading torpedo. And as he opens the angle up, we're going to go ahead and take a shot at him and slap him. Initially, only getting 2 hits because HE gets absorbed by modules and leaves us wishing that we had gotten a bigger hit than we actually ended up getting. It's unfortunate, but is what it is. Probably rushed that shot just a little bit, but we are in a roughly safe position right now from the destroyer. He can't really torp us because the island's in the way. Missouri's already dead. We got cruisers behind us shooting us. Nothing I can do about that because I've got to worry about the destroyer, right? Rather than worrying about a cruiser that can be countered by pretty much anybody, I go for the destroyer. I've got the HE already loaded, so we're ready to go. He does, unfortunately, get the shot into us and torp us. Actually, Neptune ends up torping us from behind. But we absolutely crushed that destroyer and set a fire. And that's a permafire, which doesn't really mean much on a destroyer because they're going to die pretty quickly. Or they're going to be able to put it back out anyway. But did you see how the entire enemy team gave up map control? And now you know exactly why they lost. Now, our battleship made a bad play there in the middle. He could have stayed in that gap that I was talking about to the left side of that island of Delta. He'd had crossfires there all day long. And then when he did push, he pushed right into the middle of an entire enemy team. But now that all of that's over with, it's essentially just up to the D7 and I think there was an anchorage next to me the whole time. But between these guys, they're going to have no trouble getting rid of the Shimanto. Shimanto can't really run away in this situation and should go down pretty quickly. Shimanto does absolutely clap the D7 with HE, though. And now all that's left is the destroyer that we already took all of the health off of, right? But this strategy of taking your entire team and going to one flank, it almost never works. It's a terrible strategy. So for those of you who don't understand, like, you gotta be able to hold your side if you can. Now, I knew I wasn't winning that flank, right? I can't win that flank against everything that I was up against. But what I can do is the most that I can to hold for as long as possible and let my team come to them. If the enemy wants to overcommit to one side of the map, then your team has an open avenue of approach to come in and flank them from behind. You just have to hold as long as you can. Do your best to limit who can attack you, and you'll put up great games. Anchorage, fantastic game. He was the one that was there the entire time using the island. The D7 showed up late. But I just wanted to showcase this game because these strategies where everybody just sends their entire team to one flank and trying to kill one person, it almost never works. Because all I got to do is hold long enough, and then my team's got crossfires for days. And I don't care how good you are at the game, if you're surrounded, there ain't much you can do. Simple as that. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think, and if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.